All right, so more casting news for Avengers Doomsday. And this time it's that Haley Atwell will reprise her Agent Carter role. So, since in modern day she's dead of old age, this could be a situation where we have Captain America and Agent Carter from the same universe that gives us the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom. Because I doubt they're going to have two old people on Battleworld, if that's indeed where they end up. So, I'm going to say that these are young people, but obviously not. So I'm revising my question about who will Chris Evans play. It's looking likely he's going to still be Captain America, and Haley Atwell is going to be Agent Carter. And since the Fantastic Four come from the 60s, or at least their Earth's version of the 60s, it would make sense that those two would be playing the young versions of themselves. Now, the question is, what are their characters like? Like in the case of Doctor Doom, he looks like Tony Stark, but he's not Tony. He's Victor Von Doom, and Victor Von Doom is not a good guy. So the question becomes, do they know Doctor Doom? Do they know the Fantastic Four? What side are these people going to be on? Because obviously we can't expect them to, even if they are Captain America and Agent Carter, we can't expect them to be exactly like what they were in Captain America, the First Avenger. So the question becomes, what's different about them? You know, I would assume that Captain America is Captain America, but Agent Carter could be working against Captain America. She could be, not technically evil, but we don't know in the Fantastic Four's world, Fantastic Four's Earth, who are allies and who are adversaries. So just because in Captain America, the First Avenger, Haley Atwell was, because Britain is an ally of the US's, that she was helping Steve Rogers navigate being Captain America. That doesn't mean that she will be that person in this iteration. So it's entirely possible that, maybe Britain and the US are on opposite sides. Maybe one or both works for Victor Von Doom. Maybe one or both work for the Fantastic Four. So there's still plenty of possibilities, even though we now know that Chris Evans is playing Captain America. Even though it's still possible he could be playing a different character just because Agent Carter has come back. But it's looking likely that they're going to be their characters from the 60s, except for we don't know what their backstory is. Maybe Steve Rogers never becomes Captain America. Just because, even if Steve Rogers is coming back, doesn't mean it's Captain America Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers could, I don't know, be just some hanger-on. Whether it be to Agent Carter, or if there's going to be a alternate version of Bucky, because they were best friends in First Avenger. So, still not clear, but it's more likely that Chris Evans is playing Steve Rogers. We just don't know, is he Captain America? What kind of a Captain America is he? We don't know the specifics, but I'm now thinking that he isn't going to be any other character but Steve Rogers. So for those who are easily confused by the fact that the multiverse exists, and so just because, our Captain America got a certain ending, or that Tony Stark got a certain ending, that doesn't mean that the story is finished for other versions. I can see why that would be confusing if you're not familiar, if you're really a casual fan and you don't understand the multiverse, and you don't really understand that this is a different version of a character, that it would be confusing. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be confusing for the ultra casual fan, because we're going to get a new Steve Rogers. We're going to get a new Agent Carter. We just don't know what their personalities are going to be like, who they're going to be aligned with, if they're even going to be aligned with each other. So, yeah, things are shaping up to be super nuts, which is going to be really a lot of fun to, especially not just our Avengers, but our former Avengers, who knew these people as a certain type of person, only to find out that they're not that anymore. So it might not just be mind-blowing to see Victor Von Doom looking like Tony Stark. It could be mind-blowing that Steve Rogers isn't like their Steve Rogers. It could be that he's just, less prim and proper like our Steve Rogers, or it could be that he's an anti-hero or full-on evil, or there's so many in-betweens there. And same thing with Agent Carter. She was an absolute sweetheart. I never watched her show, but I do know that she had to deal with a lot of crap from men who thought that because she's a woman that somehow they're superior. So, we don't know. She might be more demure and less like Agent Carter and less badass. Or she could have taken that badassery to a whole other level. We had her playing Captain America in Multiverse of Madness. So it's entirely possible. Or was she Captain Britain at that point? I can't remember now. But either way. So we've already gotten a taste of people who look familiar but aren't familiar. So we don't know in what side, what her personality is going to be like. Is she going to be Captain America? Is she going to be Captain Britain? Is she going to be neither of those characters? Is she going to just be Agent Carter? Is she going to be an entirely different character, but with the name of Carter? We don't know. Because here it says that reprising a role of Agent Carter, but agent for whom? Haley Atwell has done an American accent, so it's entirely possible she's an American agent. Maybe she's a British agent. Maybe she can do other accents. I don't know. So, still, yes, she's going to be, and we know it's Agent Carter, but there's still so many possibilities that we could witness. I know that there was a what if where she was Captain America. So, like I said, we don't know. I mean, it could be that Steve Rogers is the man behind helping Haley Atwell be Captain America or Captain Britain or whatever. It could be so many, there could be so many variations of what they can do with these characters. But all we know is that Haley Atwell is coming back as Agent Carter. We just don't know the specifics. Same thing with Chris Evans. Now I'm leaning more towards, yes, he's going to be Steve Rogers. We just don't know what that means. So, I believe that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.